Good afternoon. Welcome to the live race briefing for the Southport Triathlon, which takes place this Sunday. Hope you're all looking forward to it, finally getting to do some racing and hopefully kickstart what will be a very successful season for everybody. Okay, so there's quite a lot of things we're going to talk through, but the most important thing is that everything I'm going to talk through is already in the event notes. So if you haven't read them already, go to the Triathlon webpage, the Southport Triathlon webpage on epicevents.co.uk. Scroll down the Southport Triathlon page and there's a PDF document. You can download it, have a good read through. There's lots of maps in there and other information. Courses are on there. So really I'm just doing an overview of those event notes. So for proper clarification, once I've finished the briefing, if you have any other questions, have a look at the notes first. And then if they don't answer your questions, you can post them in the comments section. You might be watching live. You might come to this later. You can post them in the comments section and we will do our best to answer them for you. Okay, so first things first, COVID. If you've got any symptoms, then you really shouldn't be turning up on Sunday. Might sound obvious, but please, if you are ill, COVID symptoms, you shouldn't be there on Sunday. This is a really important thing now that I'm going to tell you. Later on today, you're going to get an email from Epic Events. And it will actually come from, there will be a link in it which will take you to your results-based account. As part of this event on Sunday, one of the things that we have to do is that you have to tick a health declaration to say that you currently have no symptoms and don't have COVID. Okay? It's one of the things that we have to do. So you're going to get an email later on, which will include stuff about the briefings and links to the briefings and so on. But in that email, later today, there will be a link. You click that link and there'll be some instructions. It will take you to your results-based entry and you need to log in, edit your entry and tick that box to say that you don't have COVID and you don't have the symptoms at the moment. Okay? So please do that for us because a lot of these things are things that we have to do to make sure that the event is legally allowed to run on Sunday. Okay, so look out for that email later on. If you don't get the email later on, then have a look in your junk or spam just in case it's gone there. And do contact us. But if that box isn't ticked, then you wouldn't be allowed to race on Sunday. So please just do that. Keep an eye out for that email later on. Okay. Registration. Registration's on Saturday, the main registration, between 1 and 5 p.m. And it's at Waterside Lodge, where the event takes place. And you can park on Marine Drive and then just walk down to Waterside Lodge to register between 1 and 5. So let me just bring up my little map here. There we go. Okay, so you can see you're looking at there where the transition area is, Marine Lake, and then you've got the car parking area. So you can drive down that main road, park in the car parking, walk down past the transition area, and the Marine Lodge is down at the bottom end of transition area, furthest away from the car park. So walk down there and registration is between Saturday and 1 till 5 p.m. If you absolutely cannot make the registration on Saturday, then there will be some emergency registration on Sunday, and that will be open from 5:30 in the morning through to 9:45. But ideally, if you can, please register on Saturday. It makes it easier for us so we can concentrate on organising the race, and also really for yourself, you don't want to be faffing around on Sunday if possible. So when you've got a race to do, so get everything sorted on Saturday. You can sort your bike out, sort your race numbers out and everything. Then you can chill on Sunday. Okay. When you do register, you will need some photo ID. And it must be you in person. So you can't register for a friend. It has to be you there, and you will need photo ID. And that's because it's a qualifying event. And again, also because it's COVID and the track and trace system, we have to enforce this. So please bring some photo ID of yourself, and you have to register in person. Super. Okay. Now, spectators. No spectators allowed, unfortunately, at the race on Sunday, so please don't bring them. And there'll be no spectators, no members of the public will be allowed into Waterside Lodge apart from the people who are taking part. I think looking at the guidelines, we've probably missed it by a day because I think some spectators are allowed back at sporting events from Monday onwards. But for this Sunday, no spectators, please. And I say no members of the public apart from competitors will be allowed in at Waterside Lodge where the event takes place. So let's move on to Sunday. 6 a.m. transition will open, early start for some of you. It's probably why you want to register on Saturday and not be messing around on Sunday. 6 a.m. transition opens. Now, if you've been before, you'll know what the transition area is like. And I just put my picture up, didn't have the where the transition area is. Well, the transition area is a bit longer this year because of the COVID guidelines. We have to separate you by a certain distance. So the transition is rather long this year. Now, it's always been relatively narrow and long because of the space we've got, but it's longer than normal. And when I say longer than normal, just to put it into context, if you're in one of the early numbers, you'll be racking in Southport. The later numbers, you'll be racking in Blackpool. Okay? So it's quite a long transition area this year. There is a road closure in force from 6:45 a.m. So Marine Drive, because I know the bike is on closed roads, Marine Drive is closed. So what that means is if you're turning up for car parking, let's pop this up again, that whole road is closed from 6:45 a.m. So if you're starting, not one of the first starters, you won't be able to park there. Okay, so unless you're there before 6:45, you won't be able to park in that car park. So there's lots of other parking. You can see the Marine Lake there. There's lots of other parking on the other side and various places. And have a look at the event notes. If you know that you're not going to be there before 6:45, then have a look in the event notes. Then you know where the parking areas are, the best places to park. And you just have to push your bike around to where you're going to register and rack. Okay. So, road closure from 6:45, and first wave is off at 7. First wave is off at 7. So 7 a.m, standard distance race, and that's everybody under 40. Standard distance will go off at 7 a.m. I'll talk a little bit more about how we're going to start you when I've gone through the waves. 7:45, we've then got the standard distance 40 plus. And then at 8:30 a.m, we've got standard distance 50 plus. That's male. So 7:45 was 40 plus male. It's 8:30 was 50 plus male. And then for the standard distance, the last wave is 9 a.m. And that's all females in the standard distance going off at 9 a.m. So 7 a.m. is standard distance under 40 men. 7:45 standard distance is 40 plus men. 8:30 is standard distance 50 plus men, and then 9 a.m. standard distance all female competitors. So with that last wave going off at 9 a.m. for the standard distance, there'll then be quite a break. Because the standard distance event is 2 laps on the bike course, there's going to be quite a lot of people on the course. So the next wave, wave 5, is actually off at 10:30, so it's an hour and a half later at 10:30, which is all the males who are taking part in the sprint race. And then at 11 a.m, it's all the females who are taking part in the sprint race. Okay, and all those wave times, they're all in the event notes. So again, have a look at the event notes, have a look at the PDF document, and all the timings are in there. Transition, important thing, transition closes at 10:15. So that's probably really only going to impact on the sprint race. So all the males in the sprint were off at 10:30, and all the females were off at 11. Transition's closing at 10:15. So you really need to be there at least an hour before to rack your bike if you're in the sprint, okay? Don't turn up at 10:30. Transition will be closed. Okay, let's talk about the courses. So let's start with the swim. Let me just find my swim picture. Beautiful. Okay, there we go. So there's your swim course. It is for the standard, it's 2 laps, and for the sprint distance, it's 1 lap. So let's go with the start first of all. You know there'll be some COVID secure measures in there. We've got to spread people out in essence. That's what the COVID secure is, to keep people a bit. So we're not having mass starts. So in previous years, if you've done this event, you will know that you get in, line up, and there is maybe 100, 150 swimmers all in there together, and they start as a wave. This year it'll be just a rolling start. So there'll be a floating pontoon, and every few seconds we'll send someone down that floating pontoon. You get to the end, enter the water, and start swimming. So it will just be a staggered start, someone going into the water every few seconds. And as you walk forward onto the pontoon, there'll be a timing mat. You'll walk across the timing mat or past the timing point, and your time then will officially start. Okay, so it'll be more spread out. You won't be in the water starting as a mass start. There is no warm-up opportunity on Sunday as well, so you won't be able to get into the water to warm up and then get back out again. You'll need to go just from the land. Okay. So rolling start from the pontoon, and then the course itself, it's 2 laps for the standard distance. So you can see point A is where you start, and you will go round the island twice. Whereas with the sprint distance course, they only go round once. So for the sprint distance from point A, they would just go round the island, straight back to point B, and then they get out there near the yacht club. If you're doing the standard distance, you can see there's a left turn where you would go round the island again. So 2 laps for the standard distance. There's water safety in place, as usual, so if you have any problems, then you just need to roll onto your back and signal to one of the water safety team, and they'll come over, and you won't get disqualified. You can have a minute, get your breath back, and then you can continue swimming, and that's fine. Okay, I think we're back. I apologise about that, but our internet went down, and the broadcast just paused. But hopefully we're back. If you can post in the comments box, you're back. That would do me a favour. So, I got up to as far as the swim course. And we're now onto the bike course. So let's have a look at the bike course. I've got a map up on the screen there. So you can see the bike course. Out of transition, you would go left. So you head south. And then we're back. Thank you very much, Vivian. We are back. You go left out of transition. And you head south. When you get to the very bottom end of the course, there is a dead turn and you go all the way back up north. You go past the transition area, up to the top end of the course, there is a dead turn, and then you would come back again, and when you get back to transition, that is one complete lap. So it's relatively, I'm saying it's relatively flat. It's very, very flat. It's a flat course, and it's 2 laps for standard distance. So for standard, you'd ride down to the bottom end of the course, dead turn, back up to the top end, back again, go past transition, and you would do that again before coming back into transition. For sprint distance, you just go down to the bottom end of the course, round the dead turn, all the way back to the top end of the course, back to transition, and you're in. So yeah, roads are fully closed, there's no drafting. So have a look at the regulations on that, but there is no drafting, which basically means you can't slipstream another rider, so please keep it fair. And just be careful as well, be safe when you're overtaking people, just make sure they know, give them a shout that you're coming past on the right. And please, if you're not overtaking, just to try stay over on the left. And obviously at no point should you be going over the white line with riders coming the other way. Because it is a flat, fast course, you do sometimes get people on the aero bars and they're putting their head down to get it go as fast as possible. So please, keep your head up. Don't start swerving over the road because you're not looking where you're going. One thing I would say with regards to the bike is just be careful when you're mounting and dismounting. So when you get out of transition and you're mounting your bike, there will be a line of cones which is separating you from the other cyclists. But as you're mounting, there'll be cyclists coming past your right-hand shoulder, and you've got to go into that traffic. Okay, so if you're clipping in, we did have a couple of riders last year who were wobbling a little bit, cold coming out of the water, and as they're clipping in, they wobbled and they're swerving across the road a little bit. Keep your head up, keep straight. There's people coming past at 25 mile an hour on your outside on your right-hand shoulder. Okay, so be careful. Same applies when you're dismounting. As you come down to the end of transition, so you cycle right down to the bottom end of transition, and you're going to take a left turn in to dismount. So you've got to, don't miss the dismount for a start. The dismount is at the bottom end of transition. So you ride down to the bottom end, you're going to turn left and go in. But as if you're continuing in the race, just be careful for those people who are going to slow down and turn left to dismount. Okay, so the transition area is the area where you have to stay alert, watch for people coming out and going in, and yourself when you're coming out and going in, be aware of other riders. Clint's just asked, are the roadworks still on the coast road? No, we're okay, Clint. We've been communicating with them for the last couple of months, and the roadworks won't affect the bike course, so we're okay. I don't know if you're upset about that or happy, but yeah. Sadly, there were no roadworks in the swim either, so we couldn't cancel the swim. Road's fully closed. Just be careful on the mountain, dismount for the bike. Now let's have a look at the run, because this is the one that's changed. This is the one that you need to know. Okay, this is run lap 1. If you've never done the race before, it won't mean much to you. But if you have done the race, you will know that this is the way the course goes, that you basically start from, I know it's very small on that picture there, but look where the letter A is. You run up along through the car park, so at the top end of the transition area, through the car park, you run up to the top end of that picture, and you are doing a clockwise loop, and that was run lap 1. So the standard distance is 2 laps. The standard distance is 2 laps, and the sprint is just 1 lap. So that is the sprint course, same as it was last year. For standard distance, what you would normally do is then, if people have competed before, you may remember this, that there was an access road that went behind the transition area, and then you would complete a second lap of that same course. Our super long transition area, which we've had to lengthen because of the COVID guidelines, now blocks off that access road. So it's just not possible to run through the centre of transition. So we've had to, for this year, alter the second lap. So get ready for this. It looks worse than it is. Honestly, it's fine. Here we go. Oh, get the right one. Here's run 2. Okay. So the second lap isn't the same as the first lap. And what I would say is it looks complicated on paper, but on the day there's extra marshals and it's signed, so it will be easier on the day than it may look on that picture there. Okay? So just to explain this, if you've done the event before, if you look at the very top of that picture, you can see Waterside Lodge. That A and B is basically where the lap starts and where the lap finishes. So that's the finish line B. So lap 1, you would run along the edge of the marine lake, come up to that point there where you can see the A and B, and then rather than completing another lap of the same course, this year what you've got to do is turn left. So you're turning left and running down the pavement along Marine Drive, heading south, and then you do a bit of a loop all the way around, and you actually rejoin the run course round near where the amusement arcades are. If you know that area, you can see on the picture where it says Pier Entrance. You do a loop round to that and then rejoin the course. And I say we've had to do that because we actually can't run round the back of the transition area because we are now blocking the access road with our super long transition. So if you're looking at the notes and you think, well, it looks complicated, on the day, it won't be as complicated as you may think. Okay, so plenty of marshals, signs out there, you'll be absolutely fine. So that's the run course. What else do we need to know? Transition then, things for transition. You will enter and exit at the opposite ends of transition. So remember this first picture that I had up, you can see the transition area there. When you come out the swim, you're going to enter transition at that bottom area, so at the southern end, down at the bottom of the transition, that's where you're going to enter after the swim, and you'll push your bike to the top end, closest to the car parking area, and you'll exit there and then turn left to start your bike. When you finish the bike, you cycle down to the bottom end of the transition area where you went in after the swim, and you will turn left and go into the bottom of transition with your bike, and then you will run out of the top end closest to the car park. Okay, so always in at the bottom end, always out at the top end. And it helps to know that, especially on the bike, as you're approaching transition, where exactly you're going in. You need to cycle alongside the transition, and you will take a left turn at the bottom end of it, dismount into transition, exit at the top, and run up through the car park to start your first lap. Okay, super. Right, what else do we need to know? Final few things then, really. Photographs. So when we finish the event, well, let's do results first. When you finish the event, the results will be live. So go to the Epic Events website. There's a results tab on the menu. The link for the Southport Triathlon will be on there. So literally within seconds of you crossing the line, your results are live. And obviously it's a live leaderboard. So where you finish, if you might look at your phone and you might look like you're quite well up, and then there might be 100 people behind you coming across the line, you might start moving further down. So if you're in the top 10, get a screenshot quick if there's 100 people still behind you. Okay? So the results will be live within seconds of you crossing the line. And if friends and family or anything, if you want them to see how you do, then just point them in the direction of the Epic Events website and the results page, and they can click on there. Photographs, there'll be photographers out on the course getting pictures, and we generally they're uploaded. They'll be uploaded Sunday afternoon, Sunday evening, and there's a lot of photographs to load on there, so you might need to give it a little bit of time, but they will load all the photographs on there, and they're free to download from the Epic Events Facebook page. Presentations, we don't do presentations on the day, we're not allowed to because of the COVID regulations, so we will notify people by email, and you will probably know from the results, and prizes will be sent in the post by email, vouchers, things like that, whatever they may be. One last thing for the qualification. In terms of qualification, for if you want to race at the European Standard Distance Championships next year, it's a qualification race. To do that, you need to register with the BTF site. It has to be done by tomorrow as well. So if you want to qualify, you have to register your intent. So if you race and realise, I've finished high enough up the field to qualify on Sunday, it's too late then. You can't then qualify for the European Championships for next year. You have to have registered your intent in advance. And you do that on the British Triathlon website, Triathlon England, not on our website. So on the Southport Triathlon webpage, there is a link that takes you to that. And you have to register your intent that you want to race at the European Championships and you want to qualify at Southport. And you have to be a BTF member to be able to do that as well. But all of that has to be done by tomorrow night. And the qualification process is all handled by British Triathlon. So if you want to know if you've qualified or you want to accept your slot or whatever it may be, that's not through us. That's all through British Triathlon. We're just hosting the qualification race. Okay. Someone's just popped up. Nick Rose, registration. BTF don't provide cards anymore. Is it okay to have an image on your mobile? I presume that's of your BTF registration. And yes, that's okay. But you will still need photo ID. So make sure you've got some photo ID with you. Alf Tuppers said, what's the current water temperature? We'll confirm more of that on Sunday, Alf. It will certainly be legal, but bring your string vest. Okay. And that's pretty much it. That's all we need to ask, really. So if you've got any more questions, you can just keep posting them on the Facebook page, on the comments there, and we will continue to answer the questions for you. But other than that, we are finally back to racing. Looking forward to seeing everybody on Sunday and hope you have a great day.